Okay then guys, what's going on? Cloud Plays here and welcome back to another video here on the channel, and today we've got a load of Starfield news for you guys, some of which is fairly interesting as people are hitting reviews when they haven't even played the bloody game. We've got one weapon class which seems to be ridiculously overpowered, and including new mod work for HD rendering. We've also got a load of stuff on Reddit from you guys and some tips and tricks that the game just doesn't tell you even exists. So with that being said, if you haven't already, smash that beautiful blue thumbs up and subscribe with post notifications turned on. It'd be greatly appreciated. On top of that, make sure you check out our sponsor Advanced GG, the #1 clinically proven energy supplement on the market. My favourite flavour is cherry vanilla, but you guys can catch an array of flavours via the link in the description. Make sure you use code CLOUD at checkout for a cheeky discount. But with that being said, let's get into it. So right here we have Peter Ovo saying David Jaffe doing God's work. Now, if you don't know who David Jaffe is, he's done exclusive work for PlayStation with a couple of PlayStation exclusive work games. There's quite a few actually that he's managed to get some work on, but this clip is absolutely hilarious. Take a quick look at this.
To me, it just doesn't get... First of all, I thought the intro was horrendous. I think the writing...
What about the intro? What about the intro was horrendous?
It just was very lackluster. Like, if you compare it to Skyrim, immediately you're fighting a dragon, and then you're sent out into the world to do anything you want. Like, literally, anything you want. Whereas this is a little bit, like I said, it's a little more shallow, it's a little bit more... It's a little bit almost more like Mass Effect, where it's more story-oriented, it's pushing you in a certain direction.
Do you think that was the choices you made? What is her name? Lynn or Lim, the lady who's your boss? Do you think part of it is just that, the fact that she asked you to burn the bodies and shit, and it should be more of a choice versus she forces you to do it, and it's almost like it's scripted at that point?
That's some of it.
I mean, that didn't happen at all in the game, so I'm assuming you haven't played it yet, correct?
No, I swear to God, I played it, but... It's
wow.
Like when you go
So people are slamming in reviews and not even playing the game. Even on the basis of the fact that he'd stated that he'd played 3 hours, you wouldn't be able to review a game off of the basis of 3 freaking hours inside of Starfield. Lo and behold, the fact that he didn't even do 3 hours. Because you don't have to burn a body. Lynn doesn't make you do that. But anyway, that is by the by. What we do have, though, is for you players in there, you want to keep an eye on some specific weapons. As Paul Tassi has put up an article stating a Starfield secret, one weapon class is hilariously overpowered. Now, there is seeming to be a one class load that works really well, and it is the Varun. The Varun Star Shard weapon is a absolutely hard-hitting pistol which has such a damage. It's the same as a revolver, but has a much bigger magazine and a higher fire rate. We also have the Varun Inflictor. Now, the rifle that looks like a submachine gun, but it isn't. That also packs a huge punch with its semi-automatic fire. And the Varun Pain Blade. Yeah, the blade is on the list. Now, this is the melee weapon that joins them. I'd argue that it's the best in the game, where you can one-shot lower-level enemies with things like stealth upgrades, one-shot higher ones, and this is the only one of the 3 he's found in a higher tier rarity. This is absolutely incredible, and it's one that I'm definitely going to be taking a look at. These are ones that you want to keep your hands on because apparently they are essentially the go-to meta weapons for the game right now. Although I know games of this stature don't generally tend to have a meta, they seem to be the more powerful class type indeed. On top of that, though, for you PC players out there, Starfield HD Reworked project announced by Hulk Hogan, first version to be released soon. And as you can see via the clip on screen, the definition is absolutely ridiculous, and this HD rework is absolutely amazing. They did the work through things of Cyberpunk 2077 HD rework for CD Projekt Red, and it looks absolutely incredible. They've done so much good with this, so for you modders out there that want to play around with it, go ahead, because it looks so damn good. Now, we have got a post here with over 4,000 upvotes stating a PSA: set Vasco to your ship crew even if he's not being used. Setting Vasco to your ship crew stations him outside when you land, so not only will he defend the ship if bad guys get too close, he's always there to say hello when you leave and come back from the field. Multiple people keep asking how to do this. From your ship's summary window, look down and should see a button, key for crew. Assign him to that from the menu. As for what perks he affects, I cannot say. I'm just happy to have him welcome me home from a tough day exploring. And you're not wrong. I do think that it does put a little smile on my face as I go to dock the ship, and as I'm entering the cockpit, he actually says, "Hello there, sir," or something along those lines. It's actually really amusing, to say the least. But we've got another post right here with 3.2 thousand upvotes saying you can obtain all of planet's survey data if you find an abandoned research tower. One of the randomly generated points of interest, the abandoned research tower usually has a computer at the top where you can download the planetary survey data for the planet you are on. Just a tip. I wanted to update this since it blew up, as to not spread misinformation. It usually always gives a planet's trait, usually one, and I think it's random if it gives you more data. It requires more testing, which I will do later and will get on the game. So that's really interesting to know, to say the least, because I think the survey data sometimes can be a little bit tedious to get your hands on, but if you can get hold of these abandoned research towers based on the randomly generated sections inside of the game, then this is definitely one to take a look at. But for more mechanics that you need to take a look at, which Starfield doesn't tell you, are these clips right here. Now, I am going to play them in synchronization. It comes from a Twitter post from Synth Potato stating there are many more doors marked that you can break open by shooting and using your cutter. There are even blocked doors by ice that you can open this way too, which for me is absolutely incredible. I've seen so many of these emergency doors and I just never end up freaking using them, but I didn't know that you could do this. So now we are definitely going to be going through them and seeing what they hold. On top of that, it also states that not only does the cutter get auto-equipped when you go into the scanner, but if you press the LT and RMB, it focuses the beam, which makes ore collecting much faster. Also, another thing that the game doesn't really tell you about, but it does really help when it is trying to farm for materials, when you're actually collecting those and mining away. You definitely want it to be as fast as you can definitely be, so make sure you go ahead and utilize that one as well. On top of that though, you can favorite different jetpacks, allowing you to combine different types of them for traversal, which means that you can essentially just fly around the map. Now, this is a little bit fiddly because you do have to keep switching between backpacks, but it is definitely doable. This isn't really something that you can do in game and they should have told you. This is more a bit of a workaround and one of those things which you can kind of abuse if you so want to, but it's not really an in-game feature per se. And then finally though, we have the smallest one. You can decorate your cockpit and all items that do say in place once you go into first person during spaceflight. Now, I didn't know this either, but you can actually just plonk stuff onto your cockpit, like items of like Plushy Teddies, which you can find absolutely everywhere, all over the bloody planets. There's so many different ones, but you can actually decorate the cockpit and they just stay there. And once you've placed them, you can go into first person during spaceflight and just see them absolutely everywhere. It's hilarious, and this is something that I never knew you were able to do, because realistically we had the weapon hangars inside of some of these ships, and when you were actually putting your weapons inside of the weapon hangars to display or to store or to utilize for later or as a backup or whatever it was you were using them for, you weren't able to keep them in there. They would just randomly disappear. So it was like the most frustrating thing on the planet when you were putting things up and they just weren't showing up the next time you went through it. But yet we can put Plushy Teddies on top of our cockpit main central station and it will stay there throughout spaceflight. Baffling. But that's all we got time for today, and it is a load of fun inside of Starfield right now. I'm really enjoying it, and hopefully you guys are too. If you haven't already, smash that beautiful blue thumbs up and subscribe with post notifications turned on. Thank you so much again for watching, guys. I appreciate you all, and as always, up until the next time, I'll see you in the clouds.